of it's, I'm a little early, but not really much because the trainer that we work with is a school teacher. So he's out for the summer. So my partner wanted to go back to Wednesdays because before he was a school teacher, we worked out on Wednesdays because he doesn't have to work today, my partner. But during the school year, he has to be, we're not willing to get up that early to do the workout before he goes to school. So we do it on Sundays. But for the summer, we get to go back to Wednesdays, and then Sunday is a little bit more of a day of rest. So, all right. We are doing Living the Science of Mind. So let's do the housekeeping first, which is simply, oh, and by the way, the thunderstorms have moved in early. They weren't supposed to be here until noon. Yeah, they're here now. So if you hear thunder, that's what's going on. Cause it's been thundering since, we got home. So the housekeeping is simply me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email is info@creativelife.org. That will get you one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. So take you right to the information of the person that can help you get it. And it's a blind CC. Nobody is going to see your email or get your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. Now, the last part is the social media. We don't monetize the social media. Why is that important? It means we don't pay for ads. Okay? We're not asking you for money, and we don't pay for ads. So what we ask you to do is to help us, bump us in the algorithms by going to go and like, subscribe, share, and comment. Like, subscribe, share, comment, follow. Based on which platform you're on as to what they want you to do. And it's definitely with the posts. Like and share the posts and comment on the posts. Bumps us in the algorithm. So we appreciate that. I think that's I should tell you what they are. Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. Like on Instagram, we are Creative Life Spark. So there's that. Okay, I think that's everything. And I will simply... Oh, and I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I'm on. Okay, so these are essays that were collected. I know it's backwards, and I'm sorry. These are essays that were collected from the take-home course that you could get in the back of the Science of Mind magazine for years. They've now collected that course. I think I've seen it both on a used book website called Aid Books and in the archives, but I don't know if it was available in the archive. Like, you can just buy the whole take-home course. They bound it into, I think, either 5 or 6 books. It's really cool. It was 48 lessons. But I also think that these are just essays where somebody went to Ernest. They either wrote to him or walked up to him or called him and said, hey, explain this to me. So he did. They are very one-on-one. They are very, very personal. I like the tone of them. I'm enjoying them. Today is about the ego. So I'm interested to see what Ernest has said. Well, I mean, I know what Ernest has said about the ego. I'm sure I've read this one before. And I've read where he's talked about the ego in a variety of other places. So I'm pretty sure I know what's coming, but it should be interesting. All right, so we're going to dive into the ego. It's just 2 pages, very short, which is good because I need to go wash my hair. So, the ego. Our idea of the ego is different from the average concept held by psychologists, particularly the materialistic ones, which hold that the ego is the reservoir of instinctive impulses dominated by the pleasure principle, as it comes in contact with the external world through the senses and becomes imbued with consciousness. They believe that the ego is not a spiritual reality, but is something acquired. They are partly right, in that the ego, which shows is a result of our experience. This is why the ego ideal is a standard of perfection formed in childhood through self-identification with persons who are admired. They have another theory of an alter ego, which is developed out of a need for self-expression derived from the whole human race. Without denying or seeking to minimize the psychological concept of the ego, we have something to add to it. We believe that there is a real spiritual ego back of the psychological one. The psychological ego acquired in living is a projection of the real ego and what we experience in life. There is an ego, or an I, myself, which is not created by experience but expressed through it. There is a real and dynamic spiritual ego. There is not. If there were not, the psychological ego could never have functioned. The real ego, this real ego, the Bible calls the Christ in us, the hope of glory. At the center of every person's life, the impersonal becomes personal. The generic becomes individualized. The universe, or God, is incarnated in each individual in an entirely different and unique manner. This is the hidden source of life, the place where Christ in us blends on one side with the divine and on the other side with the individual. That's an interesting idea. Hang on, I've never heard that before. Okay, so this, I want to mark it because it's interesting and I don't want to forget. Sometimes I forget and can't go back and find the quote that I really liked. So I'm like, just hang on for a minute. This is why the Bible tells us that there is one mediator between God and people, which is Christ. Interesting. If you've ever heard me talk, it's been a minute, but I tend to talk about, my mother is an electrical engineer. And so I tend to talk about the Christ as software. Okay. So the Christ consciousness is software that we come pre-installed with. Like, we've already got it. And the good news is the password to access it is love. So that in the way he's describing it, that makes sense. You know, if that's the software that's between the individual part of us and the divine part of us, the individualized part of us and the divine part of us. Okay. So the reference to Christ is not a reference to the person Jesus, but to the divine incarnation in all people. That's what, like I said, that's why I call it software. It is through this divine ego that we reach back to the universal wholeness of which this ego is a part. It was not created as our psychological ego or our alter ego or our ego ideal is created. It was not created by experience. It is what produces experience. All right. We go along with the psychological concept and accept all the discoveries that have been made, but we cannot accept that ego is something we ourselves created. This would be contrary to our concept of life. Sorry. If you read the book of Job in the Old Testament, you will discover that is exactly what he did. He thought he had an ego separate from the thing itself, and the narrative states that he got into all kinds of trouble because of this. He was on his own and finally ended up in sackcloth and ashes, and his wife told him that he might as well curse God and die. If you have not read the book of Job, you should really go read the book of Job, because the story of Job that they tell us as children is sanitized. Go read the book of Job. It gives you a whole different idea on Satan, too. Okay, but at that point, Mr. Job remembers something that Mrs. Job apparently had forgotten, that there is an integrity to the soul, a reality to the spirit. With this deeper self-awareness, this spiritual identification, he reached back through himself to the cause of everything that is and discovered God. Egocentricity is the result of the sense of separation between the ego that is objective and subjective and the ego that is superconsciousness or superconscious. The ego that is hid with Christ in God. If, like Job, we refuse the false ego and acquire the true, then we shall find that the external ego will no longer be false, but will become an instrument for the real that is back of it. Okay, that's going to take some thinking about. We got 2 paragraphs left. Anything that separates us from an understanding that we are one with the whole bars it from coming to self-expression through us. And all we have left is the acquired ego, which is not enough to meet the issues of life. It soon flounders and becomes submerged. I might need to read that paragraph again. We must clear the track back to life itself, the power and the presence and the warm and colorful reality of the universal spirit incarnated in us. What is a person that thou art mindful of them, and the child of humanity, that thou visitest them? For thou hast made them little lower than angels, and thou hast crowned them with glory and honor, which is Psalm 8, 4, and 5. Lines 4 and 5. Okay. All right. Hang on. I'm going to go back to the second to the last paragraph. Anything that separates us from an understanding that we are one with the whole bars it from coming to self-expression through us, and all we have left is the acquired ego, which is not enough to meet the issues of life. Okay, I got it. All we have left is the acquired ego. Why is that important? Because we've talked now. I'm gonna guess this is the first time I've read this. Maybe not. Maybe I just didn't get it the first time. Because the way we talk about ego in the science of mind, and I guess I hadn't gotten the spiritual idea of the ego, Ernest's idea of the ego. In science of mind, we don't say that, we actually say the ego is not bad. The ego has one job. The ego's job is to keep you alive. So I'm going to guess that's what he's calling the acquired ego. Because I was listening to, on the way back from the gym, I was listening to the radio personalities talk about, the sports stars that they idolized growing up and why they idolized them. Like, who were your heroes growing up? And I can tell you two of mine, Mother Teresa and Joseph Campbell. Those are two of my heroes. Those are who I idolize. So they are two of the people that I built my acquired ego around. Okay. There are other people, but those two. But that's not enough. And that's what Ernest is saying. There's not enough. If there wasn't the Christ consciousness, what he's calling our super conscious ego, then I couldn't create the acquired ego. So there has to be a part of the ego that connects me back to the divine. And my acquired ego is not enough. Your acquired ego is not enough because, as in the story of Job, it will crumble when it's challenged. It will crumble when it's challenged. God bless COVID showed us that, because our entire way of life changed. And that's the mess we're in right now, is that we've got a whole lot of people who are fighting to get back to what life was like before COVID happened. And honestly, life can't go back to that. It wasn't working for a whole lot of people, which is why it's so messy right now, because we've got the acquired ego just screaming and stomping its feet and crumbling. And what we've got to do is access that spiritual ego and create that world that works for everybody. And I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to get a whole lot messier before it gets better. But I can hope not. All right, beloveds. That's it. All right, I need to go and wash this. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of business day, a go dance in the rain day, a stay out of the lightning day, a drink plenty of water day, a nourish yourself day, whatever that looks like, be it food, be it water, be it media that you consume, books, TV, what have you. I find that I can't watch the news anymore. Like, I'm trying to watch the news because we've got a week of thunderstorms, and I'm like, it's too much. It's too much. So, nourish yourself. Nourish yourself with whatever media you consume. Tell somebody that you love them. Cuddle your fur baby's day. A good day. And enjoy the thunder day. I do enjoy the thunder. Not always the lightning. Sometimes it's interesting, but I do enjoy listening to the thunder. But be safe in the weather day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough. Just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, a brilliant light, a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. I think I said spirit in motion, God in action. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be. I guess get to know that spiritual ego, that mediator between you and, because there's really nothing between you and God. What is between you and God is you. That's it. That's it. Because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you after 9, p.m. a.m. tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.